18 years ago, God began to sow seeds of divine inspiration in the hearts of His people that would birth a ministry and a movement. For so long, many who yearned to answer the call on their lives to serve in ministry were weighed down by the limitations of cultural norms. But where the enemy had a plan, God gave a divine assignment. God called on a leader for this divine assignment, who would shepherd His people from Jamaica to the nations of the world. And in 2003, Apostle Keith Anthony Mattison answered this call. The ministry began with a gathering of 10 persons who faithfully met for Bible encounter at the small rented office of Apostle Mattison's business place on Market Street in Falmouth. Now, with each meeting, the congregation grew, and very soon after, in need of a bigger space, the ministry moved its headquarters to Harbour Street in Falmouth. Over that first year, God equipped His people with the tools for expansion and readied the ministry for a divine commissioning. Divine Inspiration Ministries was officially launched on Labor Day, May 23, 2004. In a packed ballroom at the Holiday Inn Hotel Montego Bay, churches and guests gathered from all over the island, including Bishop Dr. Kevin Chantilou, Bishop Kenroy Salter, and the Praise Chapel members. The musical guests, including the Apostolics from Pentecostal Tabernacle, Wildman Street in Kingston, and saxophonist Garfield Lawrence led the service in anointed worship. As we worshipped God, the flooring of the room vibrated under the anointed power of God, the same power we collectively experienced throughout the years of this ministry. Guest speaker Bishop Andrew Steele delivered a charge to the people of God that would inspire and motivate the passionate young ministry during our formative years. Divine Inspiration Ministries International continued to meet in the rented space on Harbour Street, Falmouth, where the congregation grew to approximately 40 regular members plus weekly guests. As our membership grew, so did the fight from the adversary to shut down the ministry. But where there's a divine assignment, God gives divine assurance. The seeds of the ministry first sown in Jamaica took root and spread its branches across the globe. By the hand of God, under the leadership of Apostle Mattison, the ministry extended overseas to one church in England, approximately 30 in Africa, and later 20 in the Philippines. While the ministry experienced exponential growth overseas, the challenges continued at home. At one point, the ministry was locked out of the very building that came to be sanctuary for our members. The inability of the ministry to quickly find another place of worship wearied our people and resulted in a significant decrease in the congregation. Nevertheless, Apostle Mattison persevered in faith and continued to execute the mandate given to him by God. In those years, he continued to preach from church to church, both locally and overseas. The power of God manifested as the people continued to receive healing and deliverance through the laying of the apostles' hand and through the prophetic word. Now, it is often said that one should bloom where they are planted. But when God has a divine relocation in store, one has to pick up roots and follow the leading of the Lord. Some were reluctant to continue with the ministry in its move to Martha Brae in 2007. The congregation was decreased to 4 members with no place to worship. But echoing the words of Job 14, these 4 were determined to keep alive the vision of the ministry. One Sunday morning, under the leadership of Assistant Pastor Chen, the church found a place of worship under an almond tree on the compound of the Trelawney Parish Library, where they met for several weeks until a place was found in Martha Brae on the ground floor of a building which housed a nightclub upstairs. The challenges increased even more, but we continued to worship God, prayed, and believed Him for change. In 2008, the congregation again moved, this time to the Martha Bray Community Center, which housed a basic school. And even though the challenges persisted, the ministry retooled and launched out in evangelism to win the lost at any cost. Many souls were saved, and the Holy Spirit continued to be poured out on the people. While at the Martha Bray Community Center, God opened the door to lease the property on which the ministry is now located. Annual camp meetings or convention were held under the tent on this very compound. Undaunted by the challenges of the earlier years and unyielding in the face of the financial obstacles, Divine Inspiration Ministries International made a bold step of faith and commenced plans to construct a place of worship on those very grounds. In 2013, with only the roof on top and a few panels of board around the frame, members started moving into our new church home and trusted God for souls and His provision. With time, the congregation grew. Many were delivered, healed, and baptized in water and with the Holy Spirit and fire. The ministry went through a divine realignment, refining our mission and purpose as we continue to lead God's people through the Bible's prescription for a fivefold ministry, building out leaders equipped to be apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. We give God thanks for where He has brought us, and we are excited about where He is taking us. God bless you for your continued service in the work of the Lord through this ministry, and we trust that through your witness and testimony, others will make Divine Inspiration Ministries International their place of worship.